This tape contains the last recorded words of David Koresh. It's taken from telephone conversations between David Koresh and the FBI negotiators. It was recorded by the government, and the tapes were recently released by the Justice Department. The tape has two segments. The first is from April 16th, Friday. It's from the wee hours of the morning, and David has just optimistically reported to the FBI negotiator that he's finished the first chapter or segment of his manuscript on the 7 seals of the Book of Revelation. He had pledged on the previous Wednesday and sent out a signed legal agreement that he would exit the Mt Carmel Center upon completion of the manuscript. The tone of the conversation is quite optimistic and upbeat, both from David's side and from the side of the FBI listening to his report.
I'm saying that when I get through writing these and they're given to my attorney, and my attorney hands them over, what's the two theologians' name? Philip Arnold and Jim Tabor, which have shown that they have a sincere interest in these things, you see, then I can spend all my time in jail, and people can go in and ask me all the stupid questions, because they're not going to ask me about the seals. They're going to say, do you molest young ladies? Have you eaten babies? Do you sacrifice people? Do you make automatic weapons? Do you have bombs? Well, that's what they're going to be interested in. Sensationalism.
Okay, so that's why you need to get it done before you leave there, then.
That's why I'm going to complete it, because, you see, you know as well as I do that people in this world, they want something dramatic and sensational. They don't want to have to sit. No one's going to sit there and let me sit there in front of a camera and read Psalms 40 to them to prove the first seal. Dick, it's a real world, and that's why I'm sympathetic with your position. I realize you're frustrated, and I agree with you.
I'm not frustrated. I went home, and I'm back. I'm no longer frustrated. I never was frustrated.
Did you take a shower for me?
Well, yeah, I took a couple of them for you.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Now listen, let's get back to the point at hand, this, the writing of the seals. Okay, you've got to do that from in there, and it's going to take you X amount of time. But just tell me this, David. Are you saying that when you finish that manuscript...
Then I'm not bound any longer to my commitment
but see, that doesn't answer the question.
Then I'll be out, yes, definitely.
I know you'll be out, but that could... excuse me, I've got a cold. That could mean a lot of things, David. That could mean...
I'll be in custody, in the jailhouse. You can come down there and feed me bananas.
No, I know at some point in time that's true, but I'm getting from you, I'm asking you, that when that is finished, are you then telling me that you are coming out the next day or 2 hours after you send that out?
Well, I'll probably, when I bring it out, see, my attorney is going to get to the copy.
Right.
Okay? And as soon as he hands it over to the scholars, the theologians, right, that's when he's going to come back, and that's when I'm going to go out with him, because he said point blank that, one of the guarantees of me arriving down there is that he's going to go with me.
You can go on paper here and said that David Koresh told me that as soon as he finishes this manuscript, the 7 seals, of which you finished the first chapter dealing with the first seal,
right,
that you're going to make that available.
I'll be splitting out of this place. I'm so sick of MREs, Dick, that...
Well, I just want to make sure that I have this right, that you're coming out as soon as that's finished.
That's what it was said by the attorney. That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
It's clarified. Lock, stock, and barrel it.
I mean, I've heard you say that you're coming out after, but that is not specific. That's a game that we all can play.
Look, I know, Dick.
But I'm asking you for your word. You say that you're coming out as soon as that's done, and you gave up the manuscript to DeGuerin, who's going to make copies available for Arnold and the other fella,
right,
the other biblical scholar, and then you are coming out with that manuscript.
And he's going to come, and the way the procession is to be, I'm to go out first with him, and then I think you're last, right, Steve? With his attorney. And the other people in between.
And then you know what? I'm keeping you from getting back to work. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to let you go so that you can get back to work, because, David, frankly, I'm eagerly awaiting this manuscript.
Well, I tell you what, it's going to blow your socks off.
Well, I'm perfectly willing to read it, and I'm looking forward to it as
either hate me or love me then.
Well, I want to read it, and then I'll make a decision then, and we'll see how it goes. In the meantime, let's get that thing written.
The first chapter of David's manuscript that had been completed was carried out of the burning building on April the 19th by his secretary and stenographer, Ruth Riddle. It was on a computer disk. This disk was subsequently turned over to David's attorney, Dick DeGuerin, and according to David's instructions, DeGuerin passed it on to James Tabor and Philip Arnold. It's now published in the appendix to a recent book. Why Waco is the title, Cults and the Battle for Religious Freedom in America. The book contains a commentary by Drs. Arnold and Tabor on the manuscript. This next segment of the tape is indeed the last recorded words or conversation of David Koresh. It was recorded on April the 18th, Sunday, the day before the fire, at about 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Koresh called the FBI negotiators. He's quite upset and angry because they've begun to remove cars and clear the area in the front of the building. First of all, he's upset that evidence might be destroyed that would relate to what had happened on February 28th in the initial BATF raid on Mt Carmel. Secondly, he's concerned about property damage in general, and it's clear from the tone of his voice that he suspects that something might be up, and that indeed the agreement that he feels he's reached with the FBI to write the manuscript and then exit peacefully could fall apart and not be carried out.
Is this John?
This Henry?
Oh, Henry, this is Dave.
Hi, Dave.
Look, the generals out here, right? You have a hard time controlling them, right?
I don't control them, no.
Okay. Well, look, we have done everything we can to be able to communicate in a nice, passionate way. We've, told you what our work with God is. And, we've been kind. We've not been your everyday kind of cult. We've not been your everyday kind of terrorist, which I'm sure you're familiar with having to deal with.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of things that the FBI or these generals are doing is just kind of way beyond the scope of reason. And they're not only destroying private property, they're also removing evidences. And this doesn't seem like that these are moves that should be made by a government who says to a people that we're going to be able to take this up in a court of law. I mean, they're not going to be able to replace a lot of things here. Like that 68 SS El Camino that belonged to Paul Fanta.
Mm-hmm.
They'll never be able to replace that. They don't have any more of those. And the 68 Camaro and other things out here in the front,
mm-hmm.
they can't replace that. They just can't replace it.
Mm-hmm.
And they keep doing these kind of things. It's just proving to us that they're not showing good faith in their part. And I just suggest they shouldn't do it.
I understand what you're saying, and I will impart that.
In all courtesies, please impart that because it's come to the point to where God in heaven has somewhat to do also, and it's just really coming to the point of really what do you men really want?
I think I'm just imparting to you what my perception is, and my perception is that what they want is they want you and everybody to come out. I
don't think so. I think what they're showing is they don't want that.
Well, I think that's exactly what they want.
No, they're not going to get that. They're not going to get that by what they're doing right now. They're going to get exactly the opposite. Exactly the opposite. They're going to get wrath on certain people. They're going to get anger from certain guys. Now, I can't control everybody here.
I think you can.
No, I can't. You can understand, John.
Henry.
Henry, I'm sorry. In 1985, I presented a truth. And everybody that's here, I had to debate, and I had to talk to, and I had to show from scriptures. I had to prove my point for many hours, days, months, and sometimes years with certain people here.
Mm-hmm.
They went to scholars, they went to theologians. I have a very unique group here.
Yes, you do.
Not ignorant people, not stupid people. Now, there's some people that in the beginning, they went out like Kevin and Brad, individuals that were, people that were out there, bar rollers and stuff like that, rough and tough guys. Now they're not the theologians of the world, but they're guys that need a lot of patience, and with a little bit of refinement and a little bit of proof to them, they can be good people.
Mm-hmm.
But I would really, in all honesty and in good faith, tell these generals to back up. They don't need to tear up any more of this property. You tell us out of one side of the mouth we're going to be able to come back here and all this, and we're going to be able to take this up in court. And on the other hand, you're showing us that there's not going to be nothing to come back to.
I think the problem on this thing, David, is that this thing has lasted way too long.
Oh, it has. It should have never gotten started this way, and that was not our fault.
Okay.
Now, you don't wish to speak of the issues of the beginning of this.
No, I don't. And what the issues were, at that time is something else. The problem is not what the issues were at that time. The problem is this has lasted way too long.
I'm going to finish my book, or I'm not going to finish my book.
I hope that you do.
Well, let me tell you this. These men, who every day we try to show them good faith, they've walked out in front of us, they've driven their tanks up to us, they busted in the side of a building a little bit one time. You said that was a mistake. It was not in your control. It wasn't in the commander's wishes. All of this has been showing us that these guys want to fight. Now, I don't want to fight. I'm alive too, and there's a lot of people in here that are alive. There's children in here.
That's right.
But we're also Americans, and I think that America has a patronage, a very clear patronage of individual citizens who have a breaking point.
Well,
now, if the government has gotten this strong, where it can come on to something that we have worked for hard. We worked hard when we got on this property. A lot of hard hours. This place was a dump. We fixed it up. We built this little house here. It's not extravagant. There's a lot of people here with a high commission and a lot of love and concern, not just for our own lives, but for everybody's lives. And if this is the way our government is showing the world that its tactics are to get someone to do as they wish, when realistically our rights have been infringed upon right and left.
But there's a way to resolve that, David.
Yes.
The way to resolve that
Yes.
is for you to come out and
Your way
lead
is
people out.
you're going to keep destroying our property.
This probably would not have had to happen.
It never did have to happen.
That's right. And then, if you had come out on the day that you indicated, that you promised that you were going to come out, none of this would have taken place.
Look, you denounced the fact that I have a God that communicates with me. That's the first mistake that we make.
Nobody is saying anything about your religious beliefs, your thoughts, your ideas, or anything like that.
You are saying
the same things that you can do there, you could do out here.
That's what you say. I think that you are lying. As a matter of fact, I know that in the first month or so that I'm out, I'm going to be bombarded all the time with nothing but people wanting to know questions, asking this, asking that.
And if you were working on the 7 seals, I mean, nobody would bother you. I mean, why would that have to happen?
I have my responsibility also to you. Come on, look at the realities of things.
And the reality of things is that there are priorities, and your priority and everybody's priority should be in the safety of the children, the safety of the women.
You are fixing to ruin that. These commanders are fixing to ruin the safety of my children, my life, the lives of my wives, the lives of my friends, my family. You're fixing to step across the ribbon.
I think that was something that you brought on. It has nothing to do
all right,
with the commanders,
I brought on.
David.
If this is the corner of the box you placed me into.
I think that you're placing yourself in that.
No,
David.
no, you're the one moving forward. You're the one who has violated. Your generals are violated our constitutional rights. You have made us guilty before proven so. You actively brought a band of people who didn't announce themselves. They came. I was out the front door. I was willing to talk to them. They shot at me first.
See, now you're talking about
something you don't want to prove as a matter of a fact. You're telling me now. You tell me I'm under arrest. I have to come out and I have to
somebody
pay.
is under arrest. That doesn't mean that you've already been proven guilty. It just means
No,
that
I'm
you've been
being punished.
charged.
We've already been punished. We've been placed in jail. We're being punished as guilty.
Well, that is something that you chose for everybody inside.
That is not correct. That is something you chose as a confinement.
Because if you had walked out on that day as you promised, by now, who knows where we would have been. You know, you probably would be out on bail, for goodness
Hey,
sake.
John, all I can say is that if you want to place this in the history books as one of the saddest days in the world.
Well, I think that the rules for your safety still apply. There's no reason, you know, to think that they shouldn't apply.
I understand your rules. I'm just simply asking you in all good faith and in all good manner for you to tell the generals it's enough to tear up our property.
I will tell them exactly what you said, but you need to understand that I'm talking up. It's not, you know, talking down. So, you know, what I suggest and what I will suggest is exactly what you said. I've suggested that, and I've suggested other things. I have no problem in, you know, for
you tell them we love them. We love them, and you know.
And you're willing to send out 30 people?
Look,
50?
Whoever wants to go out.
No. Don't tell me that. Tell me that you're sending somebody out.
I'm not going to. You don't understand about these people yet.
And you don't understand about the people here yet, either.
Okay, well, if this is the way we want to play, then we come to a point
I'm not wanting to
where
play anything.
Look, you are playing.
No, I'm
everyone
not.
Everyone in the tanks up there is playing.
No, nobody is. People just want to see some progress.
Look, some progress is being made. You don't realize what kind of progress is being made. There are people all over this world who are going to benefit from this book of the Seven Seals. You don't seem to understand.
And what you don't seem to understand is that the people here want to see that kind of progress, but other kind of progress. There's no reason why you couldn't be doing the same very thing that you're doing now within the place.
It's not true.
Here.
What you're saying is not based on the truth.
Why not? What do you mean it's not?
Because it's just not.
Your attorney is going to be your attorney whether you're in there or out here. Anything that you want, all you'd have to do is furnish it to him. Why would he not comply with your wishes?
The legal system is not the majority of the attorney. The legal system is a completely sophisticated, lots of Indian chief system. It's not just where you got one guy who's hired to speak in your behalf in a court case in front of a jury.
Yes, but
there's more to it than just. I was in jail in 1988.
And how did it come out?
It came out wonderful because it was just like it was just. Well, the thing of it is that you got to understand the amount of cost it takes to get that legal representation too.
Well,
and this was something that the sheriff's department got us in.
Well, that was then. You have an attorney now. You know, the same work that you're doing there, you could be doing out here.
More high-profile type situation. I just suggest that it would be a very bad thing for you to keep destroying all this evidence out here.
Well, you know, I really don't.
I mean, what are they doing? Are you covering up the ATF? That's exactly what it appears you're doing.
David, what we're trying to do is
it's wrong. You're doing wrong before God, before man. You are doing wrong. You're adding to your wrong.
David, you're the one that's doing wrong.
No.
You seem to have no concern about anybody within the place except yourself.
You know that we can't stay here forever.
Okay, well then send 50 people out. Send 50 people out right now.
The 50 you want to go out?
You don't have to ask. All you have to do is say, look, I want 50 volunteers, and they'll come out. If you send 50 people out.
They're saying that because of these things, they want to stay the more.
And I guess you have no control over anybody.
You got to understand what I have
responsibility. This is your responsibility because you're the leader. Their safety is in your hands. These people look.
The tape breaks off abruptly at this point, and I'll close this tape with a final short segment from Friday, April 16th.
Now, are you telling me, David, I want to get this clear in my own mind, are you telling me here and now that as soon as you reduce the 7 seals to a written form, that you're coming out of there I don't mean 2 days later.
I have no reason not to.
I know what you're saying, but answer my question if you would, please. Definitely. I mean, I want to get an answer to this. Are you coming out as soon as you're done, or are you saying I'm coming out afterwards at some point in time?
After I get the thing, see, Dick, you don't seem to understand. We are going to fulfill our commitment to God. Now, if you would allow me to show you what has been pre-written by the prophets, you would know what I'm doing.
Well, I'm asking you a simple question, though.
And I'm giving you the simple answer. Yes, yes, yes. I never intended to die in here.
Hello, Jim.
Steve, how you doing?
Not too bad. Yeah, I was listening to that on the radio. I didn't see it actually on TV about the press conference that was given, and
yeah.
It's always entertaining to see what some of the ATF agents or the FBI agents are going to say, how they say it, the implication of it, the connotations used.
It's not very accurate, I don't know.
Well, number one, you know, I don't, like yesterday, I mean, like we were talking, how they gave the information out that guys here had a gun battle with the sheriff's department in '87. I mean,
well, that's not right.
You mean to tell me these agencies, with all the evidences, all the different equipment at hand and everything else, they can't get the facts together before they go national, international?
Well, they should.
I mean, that sounds nice, you telling me that they should, but you're in a position where you know, I'm cut off. I can't talk to anybody but yourself. So you can sympathize with me and say nice things to me like this, but when it keeps on coming out on the TV and like what was said about David in this conference earlier today, well, he's miraculously recovering, and then, of course, all the laughter. If you got to see what you guys did to him, I did. I thought he would have been dead within hours of that. He was laying on the floor. We dragged him along. He's never moved from that place.
Well, I know
That's the truth.
I know that.
And when you showed concern because you thought, like yourself, as did maybe Gary and Henry, that he would die. And I tell you the truth, we thought more than likely originally he would.
I'm glad he's better.
Well, yeah, I am too, but the you know, it's the way it was stated even to the press, like, you know, it's a sarcasm to his, you know, with the Lamb and the 7 seals. Only the Lamb can open up the 7 seals, and then he's never claimed to be Jesus Christ. He never said he was.
I agree.
He did state that only the Lamb can open the 7 seals, and he offers to show people all throughout the Scriptures the 7 seals.
Right. Stephen, I know that. And the only thing that they
That way, Jim, God says who this person is. You see what I'm saying?
I understand.
But I mean, well, do you have any kind of, probably no influence, but you probably can at least communicate. What about these conferences?
I promise that I will. And let me tell you that what we have communicated up there, Henry and I, is that, and I'm sorry, and I apologize for that comment on the TV that was made that way. If that man made it, it shouldn't have been done that way. But what we have passed up, okay, I want you to know.
Okay.
And that was that Sunday, David was hurting, okay?
Mm-hmm.
That was Sunday evening. You remember.
Oh, yeah, for sure. But it's these kind of sarcastic comments, the way they're, put out.
I think that was very inappropriate for them to do that, and I will pass that up, and I think it is inappropriate.
I mean, this is really, I really tell you the truth, I'm really teed off. I hate to see how this country of America has digressed, and your type of agencies are one of the biggest causes for it. Some of you young guys like yourselves, you have a job, you've become a professional in an area. At the same time, there is getting to be a big brother. You're part of it. You do your job right, you may have a family and so forth, but there's still a vigilance of freedom that needs to be kept up. Read the writings and the statements of people like Abraham Lincoln or Jefferson or Madison. The great principles laid down so things that are happening now, that which you are more a part of than anybody, would never take place. Like, I can't talk to the outside world. You've taken care of that, your kind of people. The press are so far back that you guys could come and blow us away, and you could give any kind of a story you wanted. But I don't care if you. Let me tell you something, Jim. I really don't care if you did or didn't in the first place. The point being, there is a God that you and I stand before, whether you and I believe it or not. And one day all of us give an account. And I mean, this group does fear God first over man.
I believe that.
I know you believe that.
I know that.
But, it's starting to become annoying after all these days of sitting here. When I see this kind of stuff, when you hear it on the radio, I mean, I've known for years what's been happening. No, listen to me, please. I just want to get something off my chest because, after a while it gets very annoying. For years and years, as a young person, I was into the study of history because one does not want to repeat the mistakes of others. I've always wanted to see why there was a First World War, why a Second World War. So in taking a lot of history classes through high school and so forth, many questions were raised but few answered. And the answers that were given never really made a lot of sense. There was not a lot of logic or sense to those answers. Then I started hearing about a group called the Council on Foreign Relations, a group called the Trilateral Commission.
I've heard of that.
I know, the Illuminati. Come to find out they're real organizations with the Rockefellers and all these great merchants behind all of these politicians only being puppets. But your agency and all those are part of that whole thing, taking away the freedoms of Americans, using innuendos and all sorts of the ways to go about doing it. More legislation, more regulations, more laws, so that ultimately a person has no freedoms. So taxed to death that you never have a choice with the hard-earned money you make to choose to where it should be paid.
Yeah.
I mean, think of this whole thing. But here you're part of an agency, a part of the government that has done some of the most... I saw that Gun Owners of America, that video. I don't know if you ever got to view that one that talks about your agency, how you're lawbreakers, and what you did to those two policemen that were good cops all their life, all those 20 years out in New Jersey.
Right.
I mean, if that doesn't tee off an American that's into freedom, and I'm for your freedom also, for your freedoms of choice.
Right.
But what you guys have already showed me, what you did with the Weber case, I mean, that already bothered me, and here now I'm involved in something like this.
Yeah.
Whatever happens to me, I hope that you have yourself right with God. That you're not part of an organization or part of something that, I mean, God condemns that kind of thing. You might think he condemns a lot of things we're doing and from what you've heard about us, but you've gotten to hear a lot of things out of the mouth of David here.
Yeah.
And you go find your greatest theologian in the world. If there's some truth to that Bible, I think you said your background was Catholic?
Well, when I was a little boy, and then now I'm a Christian.
Whatever that means, I mean, I'm not a Christian. I've always wanted to be a Christian, but a Christian is something I have not seen in my whole lifetime. But anyway, aside from that, but I'm again concerned about what's going on. All my years in this country of America, I've always loved the Constitution, the statements of men like Abraham Lincoln and Jefferson, some of these men. But this country is no longer what it was then. Now there's men that have very powerful men that those guys that do get into office, I mean, when you look at someone like Bush and Clinton, both associated to the Trilateral Commission, who are you voting for? Just like in the 80s, you had, Anderson and Carter being the first member, the first one to become president in 76, handpicked by Rockefeller in 73. Every cabinet member belonged to the Trilateral Commission. What on earth is this? What's happened to this country? But you don't read about it in the press. Is it controlled is the question? Well, how come you don't get a broader view of things?
Yeah.
And those men that are on these talk shows even, right away, if there's someone in there that starts speaking logic or sense, or if they raise a question about your agency or anything else, who's watching the watchdog?
Right.
You understand? Who's watching the watchdog? Right away, they get usually taken off or their time is out. I mean, I've watched this all my life. Right. I've always considered myself to be a conservative, someone who is not into taxes, who's into the freedom of people so that they can express themselves, they can create, they can do, as long as they're not hurting their fellow man, they're doing the best. But, I mean, that's not the way this country is degenerating to, and this is what the Bible shows in advance. Right. But, me watching this, like you hear this on the radio and so forth, here we go again. But maybe, if we're right, what we're telling you through the Bible, what David's showing you, there's going to be a one last time. People are going to be answering. There's going to be someone that's going to open up a book that has to do with your eternal salvation, my eternal salvation. If it's not him, it's going to be somebody. Right. I could give you enough chapters of the Old Testament. It talks about a man that comes in the final days to one salvation, and they can't controvert it. That's what all these prophets of it, totally unaware.
Yeah.
Because I've met with them myself, and they're quiet.
Thanks, Steve, with you for those ministers. I mean, you're a pretty bright guy, and
some have said I can speak and this, that. There's many that can speak 10 times. A being that has awareness, that experience good things, bad things. We all do. There's something wrong with a being that does not want that. However, why do we have to die? Why is there the problems that there are with and life has been one of looking for the truth of my own awareness, my own being and direction, more trying to help others see the same thing if they have an honesty of heart.
And I talked about this morning before he left, and you end
If the knowledge is only air, if it's only words in the air by a little culty group, I mean, so what? You know, I don't want to. I want to try to be honest with you. I don't want to play. You know, I don't know. You know, I've seen so many men like Gonzalez. From the beginning, I thought he was just. I didn't think he was honest, but I hope that hold nothing against the man. In fact, I still like the guy. I really do.
Well, I can see. I can appreciate.
Well, no, that part doesn't, because you know I can understand that situation. That's why I say that's not a problem. That have good minds that are raising questions, basic questions with human freedom and realities with the Constitution, like why you guys did. They've never had harm from us.
Yeah.
But why didn't they come and serve him with? There is no question.
Right.
If you were on the ground or in an airplane watching, you will know for a fact you guys started firing on us.
Well, that needs to come out. You need.
Yeah.
To bring...
What about Weaver? What's happening with the Weaver tour? Let me see how you guys do and what kind of freedom.
Weaver. He walked out of there.
Wasn't it the
Well,
boy?
That was a tragedy.
Yeah, well, why did you guys do that?
Well, the U.S. Marshal was killed, wasn't he?
I heard that they shot the dog first and the kid. Anyway, it sounds from all.
I agree with you. I mean, it was tragedy on both sides. It was terrible, and
I just wonder about BATF. I've heard not that many good things.
I've heard. I know.
And not to say, but I'm sure. But at the same time, I know there's good or bad people in religion than there are good, and I could even be. I mean, you know. So it's not that it's just one organization or one agent. Obviously, you know, after hearing all this, you know, one becomes very concerned. Here we go with the same old stories we've seen and heard all the time, and the truth always gets buried. Does one really get an opportunity to speak out and to try to defend themselves?
You know,
I've seen, I don't know if you have, but I've seen in a court of law many times judges cut off someone that was trying to speak to bring out information.
I don't disagree with you, but I've also seen the other side where judges
rare and few between.
Well, they're forced the truth, and they want the truth.
To a meeting where a priest was leading out, my dad was asking something. I mean, I'm raised as an Adventist, but then in high school, I got away from it. I wanted to try.
In the last few days, and you've been straight, and through this straight, and I just want to tell you that I appreciate that. I really do. I really do. I always wonder what some of those churches do with that money, don't you?
Well, yeah. Well, all these churches are worth billions of dollars.
They buy a bunch of gold statutes and.
Well, that's some of them. You know, like the Eastern Orthodox means, where say something like there's some of the Protestants, the Adventists, for instance, which I was part of, have billions of dollars from tithes and offerings that they put into money orders, into the stock market, and so forth.
I'll tell you, there's some people. That's right.
Well, of course it isn't. Of course it isn't.
I mean, there's some.
But anyway,
that's
see, what I was saying, though, is how I finally got involved in such raising questions they could not answer. Even when they kicked me out, the very day they did, all I wanted to do was raise questions about some of these scriptures you do not know anything about. Or if you do, show me or tell me. Mm-hmm. They removed me, not because I was an adulterer, because I smoked or drank, because I didn't do those things anyway, or because I didn't go to church or whatever else. Because there were people in that church that did do all the things that were against their very views and anybody what they do unless you raise issues to do with something that is true, the realities of God. Mm-hmm. So ultimately, my wife and I and many others were removed.
All right, he wants me.
Pardon?
All right, I'm saying, and I'm working on two things.
Okay.
One is
bugged.
No, it's not going to be bugged. And those dogs.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, can you tell me for a fact ahead of time though that it won't be? I want you to tell me that, and then I won't even have a problem. You talking to me.
Right.
Whatever you tell me, I'm going to take.
Right.
Waiting to give you guys an opportunity to show your honesty and so forth.
We're not going to bug
in behalf of all the agents.
Okay, you got it.
Okay, good.
And if you feel differently, don't you?
And that you take our calls, but you'll call us a lot of times the phone. Whoever the guy is, I think it's Jamar or whatever the guy's name is, get it straight.
You guys asked us for a phone.
I know, that's what I'm saying.
For a week. I mean, we're not trying to trick you.
No, if you get back to me.
Yeah, and don't let those guys walk out because I don't want to, you know.
Bye.
And I'll be able to get back with him in a little while.
Just wait on that for now because he needs to work on that. He doesn't want when he can do it. He said okay.
Okay, yeah.
I'm with you, but he's been begging me ever since I've got on the phone to talk.
This is?
What?
You know who this is?
Yeah.
Who?
Nothing much.
Nothing much?
Yeah, 'cause there's no... The bed's on the floor.
Uh-oh. You got any good toy? Like a truck or something?
A motorcycle's my favorite thing.
Oh, I bet it's... Well, you must be pretty big. How old are you, 7?
That much.
No?
No.
Nothing. It's a cowboy 6-shooter?
Yeah.
Okay in there?
Yeah.
Okay. You like those?
Yeah.
Yeah. And your moms and stuff, and everybody to stay together. Come on out. Yeah.
I sprained my foot.
You spanked your foot.
I can walk a little, though.
How did you do that? They're out here, and when you come out, we'll have them look at it.
Is Mark?
No, they're together, but they're not right where I am. They were here. They came out, and we gave them some Coke and candy, and they got a ride in that tank.
Oh.
They thought it was a bumpy ride. A ride? Have you ever ridden in a tank?
No.
Yeah, I think it'd be neat, don't they? They did later. The tank drove them to a car, and then they got in the car. And they came up.
And they dropped them off into the car, and then the car took them to your... I like airplanes.
Do you?
Yeah.
When you come over, you can see all the... You like helicopters?
Yeah.
They got helicopters there. And I'm inside this big, giant hangar. You wouldn't believe...
Car?
Yeah, if you... Just come on out. Tell your mom you want to come, and I'll... You got to tell your mom. Think. And I'll call it.
Tanks are kind of bumpy.
Yeah, I know, but just for a little while, they're all right. So I bet there's not too many kids you know that have seen take your picture and show you what it looks like with you in that tank. Oh, where'd they take him?
Make him take his.
Oh, I didn't see him do that. I don't know.
Well, that's what they did.
Oh, they did? It's okay though. Mark was fine with him. He was fine.
He was really happy when he got there and he talked to his mom.
Yeah. And I said, "How's that tank?" And he said, "It's fun, but it's bumpy." Then he was able to get in a car, police car. You ever ridden in a fire truck?
A what? Yeah, maybe, but I wouldn't want to drive in one.
How come you didn't let the children have those puppies? The children had those puppies.
What we did, we took them to a vet.
Well, we heard on the radio that they
I can't hear you, barely. Be inoculated, vaccinated, and cute little things.
Mm-hmm.
What are they, Malamutes or something?
Well, that yard blocked off so that, they wouldn't get inside. I don't know how he got in. Jumped over.
Huh.
Oh, so he jumped over, and he was not a Malamute. So.
Oh, I see.
But the Malamutes were.
Yeah, I saw.
They have black and white in them. Do they have gray at all? White. Maybe have some brown and different colors in them. It's
right.
Look.
I love dogs. They're cute.
Yeah. Well, we just wanted to, get them out of here because they did need some special having to feed them out of baby bottles.
Well, hey, that's exactly what the vet's fine, except they're just so little that, Is there some other dogs out there?
Other dogs?
Yeah, is there?
Well, those are right in the front yard. We had some others, and they were just roaming. Get rid of them, and after a while, we just stopped trying to get rid of dogs.
Mm-hmm, I understand.
Because.
Well, how's David doing?
I can't even see him.
Rach? Hi. Hey,
Fine.
you gonna come out and see me?
Huh?
You gonna come out and see me? This is Jim. All right. Will that be good?
Talking to her.
Oh, your dad's talking to her? Okay.
Yeah.
Hey, Rach, Bonnie Haldeman is supposed to be going with the Health and Human Services people.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's what they told me.
Of which ones?
Well, apparently them she wants. I don't know how many grandchildren she has there.
Oh, okay.
Because,
I would rather have him with somebody close.
Okay, well, sometime...
Anyway, Steve wants to talk to you, okay?
Okay.
David said to tell you he'll be having a baby here in a little bit.
Oh, no.
Not...
I know what you mean.
Not him, but someone else.
Oh, is one of the ladies really having a baby?
he said is one of the ladies having a baby. He said, is that today? No, not today.
No. Hey, if they're that close, though, do we need to send them out?
He said they're that close, we need to send them out. Someone come in, like a midwife or something.
Oh, then we can't let anybody come in. Okay. Rach?
Yeah.
Okay. You sure you don't want to let them come out? I mean, we'll get them to the hospital.
They don't, if they don't want to, they don't want to.
Well, I understand.
So if you don't want to let a midwife come in, then we'll just have to do it ourselves.
Okay. All right.
Yeah,
I understand.
That's
your decision. If you need anything, medical, we won't let a doctor in help, David.
I thought that's what you said to me.
No. I have a doctor's wounds.
Okay.
And I will advise you that the doctor says this. We can't send anyone in, because, they wouldn't go.
All
They'd
right.
be afraid,
Steve wants to talk to you, okay?
Okay.